think our daughters are friends. I think that makes us friends. I'm Hunter.
I'm Lisa. That's my Julie.
I'm Mitchell. Kayla's hero.
We the life of the party.
I can't believe it's prom. They're so grown up.
I can't even hug my daughter anymore without feeling her boobs. Just high fives from now on, okay?
Julie left her laptop open.
You guys are snooping on our kids?
No.
We don't understand what they're saying, so it's not snooping.
Oh my god, I love puzzles.
Some about an eggplant.
In teenage emoji, eggplants are dicks.
Wait, what?
All emojis have a secret meaning, so like trees are weeds, and this thing is yes, queen.
Yas, queen.
So she's gonna get roses, kiss, and then touch his dick eggplant.
Look at all that drool coming out of the smiley face.
That's jizz.
Stand down.
It is. Look, it's comfy, but this is a sex pact. They're planning on losing their virginity on prom night.
Maybe it's not sex. They're just saying, hey, you're okay with me. You're okay with me.
Baby,
No, I fucking knew it.
our girls are not thinking things through. I'm gonna stop them.
I'm in.
Let's cockblock those motherfuckers.
This is our last big night together. This pact is gonna make tonight.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the LuckyDog podcast. This is your host, Elias Roush. Today we have Blockers 2018, directed by Kay Cannon, writer, co-producer of Pitch Perfect 1, 2, 3. Also written by Brian Cohey and Jim Cohey. I believe they were probably brothers, and they don't have much of a filmography. So it's pretty surprising how this movie, this what I would say horribly marketed, terribly named, raunchy teen sex comedy, has an 83% standing at on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, take what you get from Rotten Tomatoes with a grain of salt. I know that 83% just means 83% of the people that have those accounts said that they liked the film. Now that doesn't mean they liked it 83%, but they said they liked it as opposed to not liking it. So that's still pretty surprising. IMDb has a current standing of 6.4. So I was a little baffled by this. Usually they meet somewhere in the middle. Usually if it's like 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, it's usually about an 8 or something like on IMDb, give or take a little bit. But this seems to be a little bit out of whack. So what is going on with Blockers 2018, or Cock Blockers, or whatever they're trying to name this this movie? So let me just back up before I jump into the podcast. I think the marketing was horrible. Like I said earlier, the marketing, the name, all of it, everything surrounding the movie just looked like a train wreck. It did not look like something I would consider to be smart or progressive or funny, honestly. And honestly, it hit just about every single one of those marks. I would say this is a progressive teen sex comedy, and yes, it is raunchy in some parts, but it was surprisingly pretty funny. Now, this could be a movie that is not for the critics and much more of a crowd pleaser, because it some of the plotting, some of the things you just have to take for as a grain of salt, like you're just gonna have to roll with the punches or something like that. The essentials, the essential themes that kind of come through this movie revolve around movies that have come before it, like Porky's, American Pie, one of my favorites, Superbad. Just these types of movies that have kind of shaped this genre. Superbad being, I think, The Prestige. I don't know. There might be other ones that can outdo Superbad, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. I haven't actually seen all the other two in full, but I really like Superbad. But this Blockers really hits the nail way up there with me on one of the smarter teen comedies that have come out and over the past decade or past couple decades. So I would say this was pretty surprising, given that it was written by two brothers. Given how progressive this is. Now, with saying that, I think that this movie is getting so highly regarded because it's kind of a male-centric concept. I would say to talk raunchy and be raunchy and just talk about sex that way. And even just the name of the movie just sounds Blockers, and it has a big rooster on top. It says cock, but I guess they can't say cock blockers, so they just put a rooster on top, and now that's what they're going to name it. It's kind of, I guess, an innovative way to call it that, but it's not really a male-centric movie. I would say it's more of a female-centric movie. Now, with saying that, I'd put this as a progressive teen sex comedy strictly because it has things that these other movies don't, which I give it more credit for, specifically for the interracial marriages they have within the movie. They have it several times nonchalantly, barely address it, and there's several of them. They have LGBTQ representation within the movie, self-acceptance, and I guess safe sex responsibility on some parts. Female empowerment is also a big theme within this. The movie carries all of this along with having a pretty solid comedy wrapped in between the scenes. Now, I'm not saying this is a perfect movie by any means, but it does explain why this has such a high regard on the tomato meter. So, I was just not expecting this type of movie. I thought it was going to be much just raunchier, just by the marketing. It was like the marketing people thought that no one was going to see this if we had a lot of female empowerment within the not just female empowerment, but just I guess smartly written humor, I guess. I don't know, just more progressive, I guess. I'm really curious what the marketing team was looking for, because I think they were going for one, but they were writing the movie for another. The movie I saw 2 nights ago, A Quiet Place, was the audience I thought that would have been in my movie. So my movie had I looked around, mostly older folks. I was sitting beside I don't know, like a 50 or 60 year old couple on both sides of me, and then one in the front. I mean, there were older couples around me. I was probably one of the younger people in the theater. And then 2 nights ago I saw A Quiet Place, and that had all young people. It had a packed theater full of I don't know, high schoolers and college students. And I was like, what is going on? Like, now I understand that the appeal for horror movies is pretty popular among that demographic, but still, I was expecting the roles to be reversed. Maybe have an older scene at the Quiet Place showing, and have a younger scene at the blockers this evening, which it was blowing my mind. Either way, very interesting. I thought it was a solid one, and I before I go into like spoilers, anything like that, I was surprised. I was surprised most of all. The first 10 to 15 minutes were a little rough for me. I wasn't sure if I was going to like this movie. It might take you 30 minutes to kind of ease into it. If you're really thinking about trying to love the movie, don't go in trying to love it, because I kind of felt it at the beginning that the jokes were coming a little forced, and they weren't landing as smooth as I thought they should be, mostly because of editing or something like that. It was just a little off, but it just felt like they were shooting for the trailers or something like that, and most of those jokes were at the beginning, and I didn't think they hit. So I'd say that the movie gets stronger as it goes, and once they get on the road, and once everyone's going, and the jokes start rolling, and the plot starts moving. The daughters, I thought Leslie Mann's daughter was the weakest, just by I don't know, charisma or something like that. I couldn't really place my thumb on it. I don't know. I've seen her in Big Little Lies recently, and she just doesn't stick with me as an actress yet. I don't know what's going on. Maybe she just needs a little more standout of a role or something like that. She just was not one of the stronger parts for this for me. The half Indian chick was hilarious. She had me rolling. Her and the other chick that came out as gay, just their whole dynamic. I thought them and their boyfriends throughout the night were hilarious. I thought it was also interesting, now that we're talking about the boyfriends, that they were written fairly non-alpha is what I would call it. I don't know, like, and liberal sounds too. They weren't liberal, but they would say things that, you know, weren't talking about like traditional male toxicity or something like that. I think that the interesting thing is that each one of the guys weren't all that bad, except maybe the chef guy. They when one of them decides, let's go ahead and hop into spoilers for now. I would like to start to just hop in there. Anyone that's thinking about probably going to check out this movie, just is thinking about it, definitely give it a try. I think that it's definitely a male and female gender bending type of movie that works on both spectrums. It's don't go in expecting, you know, a Scorsese or something like that. This is, you know, not that type of film, but it was kind of a fun comedy. It was I would give it a movie pass, you know, or a matinee or something like that. If you're thinking about going in the late evening, I would say wait, you know, go in the afternoon or something like that, or definitely movie pass it or something like that. But or just wait for it to get on rental. But either way, I think it's worth a look because it was pretty damn funny. It had some pretty good scenes in there that had me and the entire theater rolling. It was a good theatrical experience, even though I had some people like literally describing some of the lines that were gonna be said on the screen like seconds later. I had people left, and I had people below me and to the left of me, like whispering to their husbands and wives, like, "Oh wait, he's gonna find him. He's gonna get her," or just like it was just, or tell the joke before the joke would happen or something. I was grinding my teeth at some points because these people wouldn't stop. But I guess that they were just that involved in the movie, so I can't be too upset with them. Because when the jokes were rolling at some of these parts, we were all laughing hard. But yeah, so I'm hopping into spoilers. Thanks for listening. Rate, share, subscribe. Everyone else, let's hop in the spoiler section. So we are in the spoiler section of the Blockers 2018. How's everybody doing? The water's fine. Yes, it is. Hop on in to the spoiler section. So the spoiler section, I wanted to discuss John Cena. First of all, he's a freaking badass in this. Again, he doesn't completely carry the screen like a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but he's working his way there. But I mean, just some of the scenes, some of the reaction shots when the boyfriend gives a smirk or something like that. Oh my gosh! And then we had the John Cena scene. He's like, "What the hell is he looking at me like that for?" It was so funny. And then the marketing showed the butt chugging scene. I didn't think that was gonna be funny at all, but it's surprising. It was hilarious. And the crowd was rolling. Everyone loved the one scene with him breaking into the house and the parents doing the naked sex games and stuff like that, and that was hilarious. And Ike Barinholtz, he was surprisingly hilarious too. I didn't get to talk about him too much in the spoiler-free section, and apologies about that. But he was really good as well. He brought a lot of comedic levity and timing that I thought was needed, especially in the first act, which I thought was pretty dull. But it was one of his better movies I've ever seen him in, and the scene with him and his daughter, just that scene, it really did get me. I was not expecting that. I have not had like a reaction just between, I guess, not just father. It was almost on the scale of like Lady Bird, of like a drama at some point. It was like a written for drama, but it was placed in like a comedy or something like that. So it was pretty good. It was a well written scene with Ike Barinholtz and his daughter. The other scenes that really had me rolling, the ball grabbing scene in that one when they were the naked sex games or whatever they were doing. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. It had everybody really rolling most of the time. I thought that the dynamic between the characters ultimately didn't go anywhere. Leslie Mann's character as a whole was relatively uninteresting to me, even from the beginning. The beginning, I felt it. I was like, nothing's happening, and it's not her fault. It was just the way it was written. And she kept talking about being alone and kind of seeing John Cena every so often, and he tries to contact her, and it kind of felt like they were trying to have some sort of romantic chemistry, but it never really went anywhere. And when they would try to bring in Ike Barinholtz's story, he kind of let me think. He would spill his heart or his guts and his just everything. He would pour his heart out into these people, and they literally would ignore the hell out of him, almost like he wasn't there. And it was almost just like the Ike Barinholtz was just telling us as the audience, because no one else listens to this guy, even these people that he sort of calls his friends. But I don't know, I felt a little sorry for him. But I thought that was one of the weak points for the movie, is that they brought up these like backgrounds and these pasts of these people to help flesh them out and not just make them bumbling idiots like the Three Stooges. But they didn't do anything with the plotting of being adults and letting their they basically just said it was okay for their kids to go, have sex, safe sex or whatever. They didn't really address their backgrounds and their problems, and I would have just liked that just a tad bit more, that we could just wrap it up. And even at the very end, it just felt like Leslie Mann and John Cena were kind of more of a duo, and they were carrying Ike Barinholtz along because they kind of felt sorry for him, like a lost puppy. But you could really tell that I guess they didn't really want him around. But I don't know. They were kind of shitty to him, and I just wish they would have kind of completed the circle with how much plot building they had put between the parents and their kids, and they put a lot of relationship into the writing in between those, and trying to bring them closer together by the end of the movie. But they didn't bring the three dynamic duo or the trio all together to ultimately become a unit. They kind of teetered around it and talked about it and just ultimately went nowhere with it. And I'm not really sure if it was because of timing or if it was cut or if it just didn't work out in the writer's room. But just a little bit more time and that would have been really good. It might have hit that. I think the Rotten Tomatoes score is probably is subject to change, to go to just drop. Maybe it's still going to be fresh, don't get me wrong, but I think it could go down to 75 or 70, just because I don't think this is a critic favorite movie. It just doesn't come off as that. Some of the weak side characters stood out to me. Some of the boyfriends and stuff were a little weak. Chad, you could tell Chad was like a TV or he's a young actor and he's not been in front of the camera that much. The other guys, ultimately one was forgettable and the other one guy was just the man bun guy, and he just kind of acted the same the entire time, kind of bland. But it was still funny as shit to see him get thrown against a wall by John Cena. It was pretty crazy. There were some weak side characters, but they were also complemented by a couple of strong side characters, such as the limo driver. The introduction of the limo driver was it threw me off guard at first, because most of these stereotypes in a movie really fit. It was, the kooky driver. They had the kooky driver in Superbad, the guy that hit Seth, and took him to that party. They had the kooky limo driver in this, and his introduction was hilarious. Me told him he missed his turn. He's like, and him doing these you could tell some of these jokes were kind of done on the fly, is what it felt like, improv style, such as the Dukes of Hazzard joke. Oh my god, that was so funny. He makes a Dukes of Hazzard joke, tries to jump over the hood of a car, doesn't do it, and he's like, that's a racist ass show anyway. And he runs off. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. But that's the type of comedy that kind of comes with it. It's like once a joke hits, it's like three other jokes will hit at the same time. So if you get 5 jokes in a line, then like 3 of them will hit pretty strong and one will do all right, and the 5th one you won't even hear. But the jokes, they just won't stop once they keep going, keep coming. Let me think. Let me see. Bonus scene at the end, hilarious. I bet they have like a cutting room floor of, I don't know, like 20 different scenes of John Cena and his wife and in the entire cast doing other different types of stupid little games and stuff like that they could have placed in the back as the bonus scene at the end, the teaser or whatever. But it was a crowd pleaser. It was a real crowd pleaser, is what I'd say it was. I'd say it was a decent contrast of comedy with parental perspectives that you don't get in these other teen sex comedies, or whatever you want to call them, these raunchy teen comedies. So definitely keep an eye on it. If you don't see it in theaters, then check out a rental or something like that, because it's not the biggest cast. It's not these aren't the Vince Vaughns and the Owen Wilson comedy duos. This is the John Cena, Ike Barinholtz, Leslie Mann trio or something like that. These aren't big names everyone's aware of, that really bring in a lot of people. That I guess maybe John Cena brings in a few, maybe Leslie Mann brings in a few as well, but they don't seem to be big household names that everyone knows. However, this movie's going to put them on the map. I think this should do some good numbers for them. So thanks everyone for listening. Lucky Dog Podcast. Twitter us at Lucky Dog Podcast. Follow us. Subscribe, rate, share, subscribe. That's how we grow. We need your help. That's how we do it. Rate 5 stars on iTunes, and check us out on your favorite podcast app, and be sure to check out Blockers. And any of our other podcasts are available on iTunes and YouTube. So check us out. Thank you.
For my daughter.
What about a little chugging contest?
Bring it. Wait, what?
We're butt chugging.
You got this, dog.
No, I'm tagging out. You're in.
What?
You've had a baby. Everything's looser down there.
I don't have a baby out of my butt. On the count of 3. 1.
Oh, not a fan.
I am tripping so hard. I just had a vision. My dad was chugging beer through his asshole.
I can't do anymore. Pose, break!
Pose,